Okay.
Shooter, are you ready? Stand by.
What's in the box, YouTube? What's in the box? You've seen the title. I'm not going to drag this out. I got me a brand new Beretta. The Beretta I got was let me read this model off exactly here. I got a Langdon Tactical Elite 2 or 92G Elite LTT. Initial impressions. Box. Box comes in a nice Beretta box. Pop it open. You get a nice LTT sticker. I got a receipt. That's fine. That's mine. 3 magazines. It comes in a plastic thing. You get your lock, all that. Here's your other 2 magazines. Pretty standard stuff, although I do like the Beretta sticker. That might be something I could actually put on my vehicle and them not know that, you know, it's firearm related. It'll say tactical, but that's about it. You pop it open, you get it out of the plastic wrap, it's covered in oil, boom. Here is this beautiful pistol. Wow, guys, it's just kind of impressive. I have not owned a lot of Berettas, okay? I have the one beater Beretta that you guys have seen, but this thing is kind of on a different level here. So let's quickly go over the spec sheet, basically. 3 magazines, extended mag release, beveled magwell, M9A1 frame, I believe a Vertex slide with front serrations, extended mag release, stainless steel trigger, Elite 2 hammer, G conversion. I think these are in-house sights with a blacked out rear serrated, front reel fiber optic, dovetail slide, front serrations, rail, which is just part of the frame, and then thin grips. More on the grips later, but those are super thin grips. They are basically equivalent to the Wilson Combat ultra thin grips is what I'm told. No lanyard loop, and I opted for target crown and shortened barrel, stainless barrel. So that's just the spec sheet, but what does that all mean? I actually opted for one upgrade, which is the Langdon Tactical Trigger Job. That is a little bit above and beyond what Langdon does on their just base model as it was. Oh, and one more thing, and it's a small thing, but you can see they actually beveled the upper side here. I haven't encountered an issue where that would be a problem for me yet, but I'm just pointing out a feature there. So I opted for the Langdon Tactical Trigger Job. So let me talk to you about this trigger, because that's the first thing you know. You pick it up, you put it in your hand. Trigger job. This thing is so smooth. One last. All right, nothing that. Watch this pull. Just butter smooth. So if I'm actually punched out, it's like a really well-tuned revolver trigger. Single action. Take up to the wall. Breaks. No creep. Take up. A little pressure. No creep. Reset. Not the shortest reset, and then you're back on the wall. So reset. A little further out, and then back to the wall. I like it. In order for me to really have a true, actual first impressions of this gun, I need to show you what it is that I am comparing it with. And this is what I'm comparing it with. I'm comparing it with this is my 92 FS beater, basically. Bought it used, bought it pretty much in this condition, swapped out the grips. But this is my 92 FS beater, and I'll tell you what, guys, I really like this pistol. This is a really, really nice pistol. It is smooth. It's, you know, the safety decocker model. The trigger on this, is nice and crisp. Pull trigger, boom, right? Same sort of thing. And the double action, I've got the D spring in it. The double action, pretty nice. But when you compare it with this, there's no contest. And I honestly, I wouldn't expect it to be the same. I mean, I paid good money for this trigger drop, so it better not be the same. But I hadn't encountered on it being just that much better. I mean, it is really effortless pull. And I shoot Tanfoglio race guns basically, and the trigger on this impressed me, just how solid it felt. Single action, I think everyone trashes the slide mounted decocker on Berettas, but what they don't realize is that because the decocker is mounted up here, they get a non-creepy single action. Like even my crummy Beater 92 up there has a single action with no creep, right? And that's just the D spring and no creep. So everyone rags on Berettas for these slide mounted safeties, but it gives them a really nice single action trigger, and I think that's something they don't understand. So if I had this, why did I buy this? Okay, it's a good question, because honestly I had thought about competing with this. So that's the first thing. Let's talk about my intent. My intent is to compete in pistol sports, pistol action shooting with this gun. That is the reason why I purchased this gun. So if you're looking for a home defense gun, let me just say it could absolutely do the job. All right, it's got a rail, you throw a light on it. That's a really crappy light. I have a better one, I promise. But just pointing out, you have a rail, and despite this having a trigger job, you can opt to not have the trigger job. I believe it's a 13-pound hammer spring in here right now. But this is going to light off anything, especially when you use like self-defense ammo that has federal primers. It's still going to light this off. Or just opt to not have the trigger job, or have the trigger job with a D spring in it, and it's going to light off any ammunition as well. Berettas are known for their super reliability, and the sight picture, you know, he does the Spartan sights, which might give you the night sight if that's what you desire. If you were going to buy this for a home defense gun, just saying, I bought it for a competition gun. It is perfectly viable to be a home defense gun, a plinker, a range plinker, whatever you want to do. But I'm going to have all my details are going to be as to why I bought this for competition, and why I bought this for competition and did not just stick with this, which is a fine weapon, and I've covered that in other videos. So let's talk about why I'm buying this versus this. All right, first things right away, magwell beveled. Not an issue for, I could like bevel this out for production for USPSA. That would be no issue, but doing that, beveling that out for IDPA is considered a external modification and throws me into ESP. The other reason, it comes with a G conversion, right? G conversion, that safety down. Now I'm sitting in competition, I'm in the middle of a stage, I rack the slide, I accidentally hit this, and now I go to engage the next target, and nothing happens. If I come here and I got the hammer back, and let's say I really mess this up and I do that number, guess what? That just means I'm going to have a double action shot, which, as we discussed, is super smooth. So, beveled magwell, G conversion, stainless barrel, which, I mean, I don't think I'm going to wear out the factory barrel or anything like that. Crown barrel, target crown, not a big deal. But then we get to the other major reason, dovetail front sight. That means I can put anything I want to on this, essentially. And it comes with fiber optic sights. And, you know, if you're shoot any kind of competition, action competition, pistol sports, this is the preferred sight picture. Blacked out rear, fiber optic front, extended mag, and then thin grips. Like, you can see a big difference in width. Just look especially towards the middle. Like, they don't get too small around the bushings, just because that's where those screws have to go. It can't get too thin, but you can really tell in that middle part. Checkering, rear and front back strap checkering, superior to the 92FS, which is only up and down. And all of these are really minor issues, right? And then, but despite the other thing, one last thing I believe, the rail, giving it a little bit more weight up front and more weight at the bottom of the gun versus in the slide. So, you know, this doesn't have a frame, or doesn't have a rail, right? So I could get an FS or an M9A1 that has a rail, but I just went and bought this, and now I'm done. Like, I have Tamfolios that take hundreds of extra dollars to get them whipped up into shape for competition, right? This one's done. I mean, it's even got some beveling that I don't necessarily need, but you know, just smoothness. So it's got the hex screws, but I buy this, I get a holster for it, I start shooting it. Nearly every other pistol you purchase is going to need work and money and parts sunk into it to get it competition ready. Now, there are exceptions, and I'm not going to have an exhaustive list of them, but there are, you know, the was it PPQ match Q5 from Walther. Like I said, the Shadow 2, that's pretty much ready to go out of the box. If you like thin grips, you probably don't even change them, the aluminum grips that come on them. You might want some trigger work, right? I mean, I did pay extra for trigger work, so, you know, swapping out $30-ish of springs, maybe not the worst idea in a Shadow 2. Springfield XDM 5.25 or whatever, that's their competition model. It's got the right sights on it. It's just an XDM. So it's got the grip safety, you know, and then a lot of people put the Powder River whatever triggers in them. So a lot of people do trigger works on them. Glocks, all Glocks, most people do trigger work or put triggers in them. And that's not to say that that's not a horrible deal, right? But I'm just saying that baked into the price of this gun, this is why you would pick this gun, in my opinion, is that you pay the money and you're done. You pay the money one time and you have a gun ready to shoot. Home defense, competition, whatever you want, it's there, it's ready. And it's superior to every other Beretta model, in my opinion, at least that I've handled, and that would just be the 92 series and the M9 series. I haven't handled a 90-2 or anything like that, but I know they all have their drawbacks. And if you want to compete with a Beretta, like this kind of Beretta, and you want the lack of slide mass and lack of reciprocating mass and, you know, the tilting block barrel, etc., I think this is essentially the only way to go. And now that I have one, your next question should probably be, well, Gunner, why did you go with Langdon Tactical and why an Elite LTT versus Wilson Combat and all of their options? Okay, I can handle that one. But one of the biggest things right away is looking at the slide. Okay, well, what is this slide? Well, it's not a Brigadier slide. Now you say, whoa, 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 whoa. I thought Brigadier slides were preferred. Well, I think some people definitely prefer them. I think if this was a 40 cal Beretta, I would prefer one. I would want to get one. I just don't see the need to add a bunch of width here for 9mm, to add weight up here, to add reciprocating mass, to, you know, every time, every trigger pull, I now have to fight just a little bit extra weight in here, almost kind of like counteracting the entire point of shooting a Beretta. And if I get a crack in this slide after 3 years and 30,000 rounds, I will feel like I have gotten my money's worth out of this gun and out of the slide. But I'm willing to bet that the U.S. military has picked this gun and it's reliable enough, and the slide, I mean, there's so much history there I'm just not going to get into. I think I can put thousands and tens of thousands of rounds on this gun, on this slide, and it not crack. If it does, I'll be surprised. And if it does crack, I will accept that as the cost of the amount of ammunition that I have fired down this gun. I mean, if that makes sense. So I didn't want I don't want a Brigadier slide. I want an A2, a 92FS, those slides. And that alone would drive me to Langdon Tactical, right? I mean, that's what he chose this model. He built his model on an M9A1 frame. He beveled, I think the beveling is extra. But the rail, so you have the rail, you have the weight, you have the ability to put a light on it if you want to do home defense. And then you have the thinner slide, which is better for finding holsters. It's better for the comfort and shootability of this gun, in my opinion. Right? That was what really appealed to me when I shot this 92FS, was just the reciprocating mass of the gun. It's just not that, it's just really easy to control. So if I'm going to pay, you know, $1,000+ for a Beretta, I want the thinner slide. I'm going to go with the Langdon. And here's the other thing. I think, and this is my personal opinion, so we're definitely in opinion territory here. When I shot IDPA Nationals this year in Alabama, of course, Wilson Combat is a huge IDPA sponsor. Joyce Wilson, his wife, is actually, I think, the president of IDPA, right? I mean, so they had a big Wilson Combat booth at Nationals. And I got to shoot a wide range of Wilson Combat. They had, you know, I mean, it was just like a table just like stacked on stacks on Berettas. And I actually got to shoot the Wilson Combat EDC X9, you know, the one with the double stack magazine. That was pretty neat. But I got to shoot and see their Berettas. And I think quality-wise, I came out, just from what I could pick up on that table and what I'm picking up right now, I think the quality is roughly the same. Go check out Just an Opinion, his channel. He did basically a side-by-side with a Langdon Tactical LTT and a Wilson Combat Brig Tac. And, you know, he basically was like, well, they're roughly the same. Pick whichever one you want to pick. And I think that's true. I mean, and I think you're going to get an equivalent product, and perhaps superior, just because it's not a Brig Tac, a superior product from, or at least an equivalent, but within the options that I have to choose from, Langdon just fits better for me. So I don't think there's a right answer. You know, you Wilson Combat guys, don't beat me up. I think Wilson Combat, great product. My point being, I think between the two players in the Beretta space, the custom Beretta space, Langdon Tactical is a smarter choice for me and my desires. Your mileage might vary. So for my money, and it was my money, I'm not sponsored, I went with a Langdon Tactical LTT, 92G Elite LTT, and I'm looking forward to competing with this thing. Both sports legal, and I want to shoot it in both sports. It's supposed to hit the production list soon. As soon as it does, I'm going to be swapping over to it. So that's my initial impressions. More to come. As soon as I get a holster, I'm going to take this out to IDPA, and I'll give you a out of the box to the match review of this gun. That's the opinion you paid for. And let me know what you think in the comments. Tell me I'm way off base. Tell me that Wilson Combat is a far superior product. I'd love to hear your reasons why, but I gotta tell you, I think this is an extremely well built and put together product. I think it has all the right options. It has all the right choices made for it, for what I'm going to use it for, and I look forward to shooting it this year. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, give me a thumbs up. It all helps. Appreciate it.